Another day, another MAGA conspiracy theory bites the dust, as a group that put forward false claims of election fraud has to admit that, yeah, they got nothing. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Aronberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County, aka the Florida Lawman, here on the MeidasTouch Network. You may have heard of the group True the Vote. True the Vote is this group of right-wingers who claimed that there was election fraud in various states, but mostly in Georgia, where they came up with such wild conspiracy theories that only someone like Dinesh D'Souza would believe it. Well, he did and wrote a book about it. You've heard of it, 2,000 Mules. And this supposedly showed proof that there was illegal ballot stuffing in Georgia. And it went to the Secretary of State's office in Georgia. And Brad Raffensperger, the Secretary of State, a Republican, mind you, said it was garbage. This was bogus. Show us the proof. And of course, the group said, well, we don't want to divulge our sources. We got to keep it confidential. All of our people who came to us and said, here's proof of election fraud. So we're not going to tell you. And so then Raffensperger pursued it in the courts to force this group to turn over the information. And it was like that Seinfeld episode where George Costanza lied to the parents of his deceased fiance that he had a house in the Hamptons. It's further up the hill. Keep coming. You sure you want to keep going up this hill, up this journey? And it ended in disaster, as most things do with George Costanza or purveyors of false information about the 2020 election.
Where are we, George?
Almost there?
Yeah, this is the end of Long Island. Where's your house?
We, go on foot from here?
All right.
So this group, True the Vote, said they, quote, obtained a detailed account of coordinated efforts to collect and deposit ballots in drop boxes across Metro Atlanta during the 2020 election and the runoff afterwards for the U.S. Senate. And Dinesh D'Souza in 2,000 Mules, in his film, based on their allegations, falsely accused Democrats that they were paid to illegally collect and deposit boxes into drop boxes, not just in Georgia, but also in Arizona, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, and in Wisconsin. And he promoted this phony movie about this, and the right wing went crazy saying, here's proof, finally. And even Bill Barr debunked it. And, he's not exactly part of the resistance. Former President Trump, I know this is going to shock you, praised the film as exposing great election fraud. This is like the kids you knew back in school when they pretended they had a Canadian girlfriend. Yes, I have friends who know about this fraud. They can prove it, but they don't want their names to be divulged. At some point, you had to know that their lies would be exposed because a judge in Atlanta ordered the group to give evidence that it had collected to state elections officials. Forget the whole confidentiality thing. If you're going to make these kind of accusations, come up with the goods. And guess what? Yeah, the group just admitted, no, we don't have anything. We never had anything. So I'm waiting for the mea culpa from Dinesh D'Souza and from the former president and from all the other purveyors of these lies. But I guess we'll be waiting. See, as far as the individuals themselves from the group True the Vote, the best thing about a conspiracy theory for them is that when your conspiracies are debunked, you can just create a new conspiracy theory. Ask QAnon. Remember, Trump was going to be reinstalled as president just several months ago, and then every time the deadline would pass, it would be, well, no, it's going to be months later. No, it's going to be next year. It's like the Y2K people. The world is going to end on January 1st, 2000. And then when it didn't happen, well, we just misread it. It's in 5 years. It just, when your conspiracies continue to be debunked, you just create a new one and your rubes will continue to believe it. That's why they still have followers of QAnon. And technically, if you're part of a doomsday cult, you're never really wrong. You're just early. The problem, though, with these conspiracy theories is that they can spread like wildfire. It's much easier to spread a lie than it is to prove it wrong with the truth. Proving it wrong takes time because you have to get to the people who have the closed minds, who don't want to believe that, hey, maybe the world's not going to end. Maybe there wasn't massive fraud in the election after every single judge said there wasn't, including Trump-appointed judges, that Trump's own people like Bill Barr, like the person he had running his election security, all these people who now are considered part of the deep state, maybe they're not all part of a huge conspiracy. Maybe it's you who are basing your views on bad facts and who's lying. And it's important for us to name and shame these liars. And so I'm going to do it right here. I mean, the group's founder and president, Catherine Engelbrecht, and another member of the group, they've also previously been in trouble with the law because they were briefly jailed in 2022 for contempt for failing to comply with a court order to provide information in a defamation lawsuit. And this one where they falsely claimed that an election software company stored the personal information of election workers on an unsecured server in China. And so it's important for us to name and shame these people because they're the ones who are doing a big bulk of the lies. And they have all these people out there who want to believe it and they're susceptible to these lies. So it's up to us to continue to spread the truth, to combat lies with truth. But see what happened here is this lie with True the Vote occurred right after the 2020 election. Now here we are in the year 2024, finally, definitively proving to the world that they're liars. It takes a while. And that's the benefit the other side has. You can spread a lie quickly, and to debunk it with the truth takes time. So 2024 continues to be the year of accountability. Or you could say this is the year that you mess around and find out. I changed the word to make it more PG for the family show that we are. This year it shows that there are major judgments, major verdicts, and defamation lawsuits that are continuing. Like, just because these folks have not been held accountable in criminal court for their lies, the defamation lawsuits against them aren't going away. They're not going away against Rudy Giuliani. They're not going away against Sidney Powell and others who are facing massive judgments that will financially ruin them. And yet, you could say that they're the lucky ones because compared to the hundreds of idiots who stormed the Capitol based on their lies, they got off easy. They're not dealing with a incarceration, a deprivation of their freedom. And so you could say just because they're the ones facing civil lawsuits, they got off easy. But ultimately, accountability is here in the year 2024, and that's not changing. And indeed, it's been a bad week for election deniers and Joe Biden conspiracy theorists. There was the arrest of Alexander Smirnov. That's the Russian who was the foundation for Congressman Comer's crusade to impeach Joe Biden because of so-called bribes. Well, it turns out he lied. He just didn't like Joe Biden. And the so-called whistleblower is nothing but a liar, a fraud, a scam artist, and now he's facing prison time. Yep, you buy the ticket, you take the ride. And all those people on the far right who every night were putting out these conspiracy theories, every night calling Joe Biden a mastermind of bribes, which at the same time they were saying he's mentally addled. And then, of course, they're saying he's this financial mastermind on an international scale that we've never seen before. But in the end, it's just a lie, just a conspiracy theory that's been debunked. And yet the people on the far right who push these theories, Sean Hannity and others, they barely mention it at all. So it's important for us to talk about it here. And that's why we are here at the MeidasTouch Network, to break through the lies, to be able to spread the truth, and to be able to save our democracy. So thank you for watching. I'm Dave Aronberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County, aka the Florida Lawman. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.